नमो विश्वपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी नित्य नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य विस्तारिणे जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदम. Okay, so we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter number 6, text number 108. Out of ecstatic love of God, the Bhattacharya shed tears and his body was stunned. He exhibited an ecstatic mood and he perspired, shook and trembled. He sometimes danced, sometimes chanted, sometimes cried, and sometimes fell down to touch the lotus feet of the Lord. Text 209. While Sarvam Bhattacharya was in this ecstasy, Gopinath Acharya was very pleased. The associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all laughed to see Bhattacharya dance. So, text 210. Gopinath Acharya told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sir, you have brought all this upon Sarvam Bhattacharya. Text 211. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, You are a devotee. Because of your association, Lord Jagannatha has shown him mercy. Text 212. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified the Bhattacharya, and when he was quieted, he offered many prayers to the Lord. Text 213. Sarvam Bhattacharya said, My dear sir, you delivered the entire world, but that is not a very great task. However, you have also delivered me, and that is certainly the work of very wonderful powers. Text 214. I had become dull-headed due to reading too many books on logic. Consequently, I had become like an iron bar. Nonetheless, you have melted me, and therefore your influence is very great. After hearing the prayers offered by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his residence, and the Bhattacharya, through Gopinath Acharya, induced the Lord to accept lunch there. Text 216. Early the following morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannatha in the temple, and he saw the Lord rise from his bed. Text 217. The priest there presented him with garlands and prasadam that had been offered to Lord Jagannatha. This pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much. Text 218. Carefully tying the prasadam and garlands in a cloth, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hastened to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Text 219. He arrived at the Bhattacharya's house a little before sunrise, just when the Bhattacharya was arising from bed. Text 220. As Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya arose from bed, he distinctly chanted, Krishna, Krishna. Lord Chaitanya was very pleased to hear him chant the holy name of Krishna. Text 221. The Bhattacharya noticed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu outside, and with great haste, he went to him and offered prayers to his lotus feet. Praise unto his lotus feet. Text 222. The Bhattacharya offered a carpet for the Lord to sit upon, and both of them sat there. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the prasadam and placed it in the hands of the Bhattacharya. Text 223. At that time, the Bhattacharya had not even washed his mouth, nor had he taken his bath or finished his morning duties. Nonetheless, he was very pleased to receive the prasadam of Lord Jagannatha. Text 224. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the dullness in the mind of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was eradicated. After reciting the following two verses, he ate the prasadam offered to him. Text 225. The Bhattacharya said, one should eat the Mahaprasadam of the Lord immediately upon receiving it, even though it is dried up, stale, or brought from a distant country. One should consider neither time nor place. Text 226. The prasadam of Lord Krishna is to be eaten by gentlemen as soon as it is received. There should be no hesitation. There are no regulatory principles concerning time and place. This is the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 227. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see this. He became ecstatic in love of Godhead and embraced Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Text 228. The Lord and the servant embraced each other and began to dance simply by touching each other. They became ecstatic. Text 229. As they danced and embraced, spiritual symptoms manifested in their bodies. They perspired, trembled, and shed tears, and the Lord began to speak in his ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Today I conquered the three worlds very easily. Today I have ascended to the spiritual world." Text 231. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "I think that today all my desires have been fulfilled because I see that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has acquired faith in the Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannatha." Text 232. Indeed, today you have undoubtedly taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, and Krishna, without reservation, has become very merciful toward you. Text 233. You can see until where we go. I think we can pause here of 234. Okay. 233. My dear Bhattacharya, today you have been released from material bondage in the bodily conception of life. You cut to pieces the shackles of the illusory energy. Text 234. Today your mind has become fit to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Because, surpassing the Vedic regulative principles, you have eaten the remnants of food offered to the Lord. So, we'll go back. We did up to 234. So, I'll briefly share the context and we'll go back to the current verses today. Basically, the context was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is having a conversation with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was the greatest scholar in the whole world at that time. And we heard how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu patiently listened to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explain Vedanta Sutra. And then when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked at the end, "I'm not sure whether you are understanding or not, you are not giving me any indication, or you are not asking any question." So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I understand it very well. But then when you are giving meanings, purport based on commentary, based on Sharika Bhasha, Shankaracharya's commentary, then the meaning is being clouded like that." Then after that, he explained how Shankaracharya philosophy is incorrect and is a wrong interpretation also. Shankaracharya was taking a indirect meaning he described, not the direct meaning given in the Vedanta Sutra like that he described. So after describing that, then we heard how he also said Shankaracharya gave incorrect emphasis. That means emphasis to wrong thing. Instead of emphasizing that we are part and parcel of Krishna like that, he emphasizes on the part that Tattvamasi, we are of the same quality, same like Krishna like that. That is what he emphasized. And he described how Shankaracharya followers do word jugglery and twist the real meaning of the scriptures like that. Then after that, he explained, actually Shankaracharya was doing according to the plan of the Lord only, like that he described. We discussed that aspect more in the last few sessions. Then after that, Lord Chaitanya described how Vedic knowledge contains knowledge of Sambandha, that means our relationship with Krishna, and Abdeya, that means how to act in that relationship with Krishna, and then Prayojana, what is the result of that relationship with Krishna, which is Krishna Prema, and engaging in devotional service to Krishna like that. So after he described that, then he described Atmanamavas, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 7th chapter, text number 10, where is described even liberated souls, even those in Brahman situated souls also, like Sukadeva Goswami and then four Kumaras, they also appreciated bhakti and they also took up bhakti. That means bhakti gives higher pleasure and higher satisfaction and bliss compared to the impersonal knowledge or impersonal liberation like that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described basically. After that, the conversation proceeded to next step where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to explain the Atmanamavas. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said very humbly, I would like you to explain first, then I can explain, like that he said. So then explain with whatever little knowledge I have, I explain like that in a humble mode. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord himself is talking like that in humble mode. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explains the Atmanam verse in 9 different ways, in a scholarly way, using logic as a main source. main instrument basically. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, actually, nobody can explain like you. Even Brahaspati, who is the spiritual master of demigods, he cannot explain like you. You did explain very nicely, like that is described. In terms of logic, you explain, but actually there's another purport also for this, like that it says. Then Sarvam Bhattacharya requests him to explain that. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay, I will explain. He explains this Atmanama verse in how many 18 different ways is described. First he explains each of the word of the verse, and then he explains in 18 different ways Atmanama verse, like that is described. Then let me see, 2:8, right? Okay. Then as soon as he explained that, we heard yesterday that Sarvam Bhattacharya was very clear that this is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not an ordinary person like that. He got a clarity. Then he took shelter of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and is described. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed him 400 Vishnu form first, and then 200 Krishna's form next, like that. And then that's how he gave mercy to him, Sarvam Bhattacharya, and Sarvam Bhattacharya actually glorified him with prayers. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him, and when he embraced him, he was filled with ecstatic love. So that time, that is where we are in today's context. Let me go back to verses now. So what we covered in the last few sessions, a summary way. So now, let me go to text 208. Okay. So basically, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced, he was in ecstatic love and fell unconscious in Sarvam Bhattacharya. Then Bhattacharya developed all ecstatic symptoms like shedding tears, body was turned, he was perspiring and shook and trembled. He was sometimes dancing, chanting, sometimes crying, sometimes falling down at the lotus feet of the Lord, like that. Then when devotees like Gopinath Acharya saw him in such ecstatic mood, they're very happy and they were very pleased. And they were laughing. Oh, see, Bhattacharya used to be impersonalist with logic, he used to argue all the time. Now he's with bhakti, ecstasy, he's dancing like that. They were laughing. And Gopinath Acharya told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have brought all this upon Sarvam Bhattacharya. You made this happen for Sarvam Bhattacharya, like that he appreciated. But look at this, what happened? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not take the credit. He gave the credit to Gopinath Acharya. What did he say? You are a devotee. Because of your association, Lord Jagannath has shown his mercy. This is a very important principle for us to understand. Because in this pastime, what happened is Gopinath Acharya is the brother-in-law of Sarvam Bhattacharya. And Gopinath Acharya gave his mercy to Sarvam Bhattacharya so that he prayed for him. He wanted him to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord himself. And he wanted him to come to bhakti like that. So because of that association with Gopinath Acharya, then because Gopinath Acharya, the devotee, pure devotee, gave mercy to this Sarvam Bhattacharya, that's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave him mercy. But instead of saying, I gave the mercy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Lord Jagannath has given mercy, like that. So that's the important point to note. So basically, in mercy, association of devotees is very important. So when devotees become favorable to us, favorable to our growth in Krishna consciousness, then we'll get the mercy of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Jagannath, like that. That's an important point to note. That's why we need to have good relationship with devotees and nicely serve devotees and take their association so we can grow easily. Not only by their realizations, by their example, by their precept, but also because we are in a good relationship with the devotees association, Supreme Lord also gives us mercy, like that. That's an important principle in this pastime, whole pastime. So after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified Bhattacharya. Why is he saying pacified? Because he was in ecstatic symptoms, he was dancing, chanting, like that, right? So pacified him. And when he was quieted, he offered many prayers to the Lord. Who offered many prayers to the Lord? Sarvam Bhattacharya. He said like this, my dear sir, you delivered the entire world, but that's not a very great task. However, you also delivered me. And that is certainly the work of very wonderful prayers, he's saying. So Sarvam Bhattacharya is humble. Humble mood is coming out here. He is very clear that he was in a gone case, like he was in impersonalist philosophy, philosophical understanding. He was not in bhakti. But because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is given to him, that's why he could come to bhakti platform now. That's why he's appreciated like that. Remember in few sessions back we heard how Sarvam Bhattacharya was even having sannyasi disciples like that who were impersonalists. So now such a person, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transformed him to a bhakta, devotee like that. So now that is a wonderful thing. Now text 214, Sarvam Bhattacharya again is saying, I had become dull-headed. Why? Due to reading too many books on logic. So when we read too many books on logical way of understanding things, especially instead of going through bhakti, only logic, then that's what impersonalists do, right? So then it will become dry and they become dull-headed. That means they cannot understand bhakti principle, how something can happen with the mercy of Krishna like that. They will only see this caused that, that caused this like that. They can only see cause and effect. They cannot see ultimate role of Krishna, Krishna's hand in everything like that. That's why he's saying I had become dull-headed due to reading too many books on logic, is saying. So that's a caution for us also. So if you try to understand Mayavadi philosophy, then our bhakti life also can get destroyed like that. So that's why he's comparing himself to iron bar. That means so dull like iron bar. But then he's saying that you have melted me. Such an iron bar, you melted me. And therefore your influence is very great, he's saying. Basically, these two verses are prayers are appreciating Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's potency. That if he's able to work on him, that means he must be is very capable like that. That's what he's indicating. So next, 15th verse. After hearing the prayers offered by Sarvam Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned back to his residence. There's a place called Gambira in Vijayanagari. And the Bhattacharya arranged for lunch for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Gopinath. So interesting, see. Gopinath was more close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why he arranged lunch through Gopinath like that. Now text 216. So that day, okay, this is an interesting phenomenon. So now so far, we heard about interactions between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvam Bhattacharya. And then how he got delivered in one sense through the discussion, and they saw the ecstatic symptoms that he got like that, right? Now, what we'll see is a practical example how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tested the bhakti of Sarvam Bhattacharya. So that test, Sarvam Bhattacharya becomes past now. So we'll find out that test now. What was happening? Early morning, the following day morning, early, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath temple. And he saw the Lord raised from his bed. What does that mean? That means he went even before Mangalarti, he was there already in the temple like that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally. Then the priest there presented him with garlands and prasadam that has been offered to Jagannath. That means he gave Mahaprasadam garlands and Mahaprasadam food also. So this pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much, it seems. So in fact, when we understand the value of Mahaprasadam, as devotees, we can also be very happy when we receive Mahaprasadam. Either tulsi from the deities, or some food from the deities, or some garland from the deities, or some flower from the deities. Anything, we should be very happy to receive something from the deities, always. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also personally showing with this example that is pleased very much to receive some Mahaprasadam. Now text 218. Now, what did he do? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he carefully kept that, tied that garlands and prasadam in a cloth, it seems. And then he quickly went to house of Sarvam Bhattacharya. This is the test he is going to do now. So now text 219, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at the Bhattacharya's house a little before sunrise. That means he went very early. That time Sarvam Bhattacharya was rising from the bed, arising from bed, getting up from bed. So then as soon as Sarvam Bhattacharya got up from the bed, what did he do? He distinctly chanted Krishna, Krishna. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that, he was very pleased to hear him chant the holy name of Krishna. So what is the lesson for us from this section? That actually Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is very nice literature. It gives us practical way of conducting our life for us, and also etiquette in between people also. So here is describing, as soon as he got up, he was chanting the holy name. Similarly, as practicing devotees, we also cultivate that. As soon as we get up from the bed, we say the pranam mantra for our guru and pay respect to him. Like if somebody has not initiated yet, they can always chant the Sri Prabhupada pranam mantra. We say pranam mantra and we also say Radha Madhav ki jai, like that. Whatever your Ishtadeva, whatever your deity, you can glorify them. You can remember them like that. That's how when we get up, that's the first thing we do. Okay, that's one of the Vaishnavas practices we do. Now text 21. So Bhattacharya, Sarvam Bhattacharya, as soon as he got up from the bed, right, he noticed that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was outside. So then very quickly he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and offered prayer at his lotus feet, it seems. So this is another etiquette. When somebody comes to home, you should not just sit in the sofa and let them come and come inside and then talk to you. You just go to the door and receive them like that. That's the point being made. Like that. That is one of the etiquette point we can learn from here. Other point is he's very eager to receive him. Sarvam Bhattacharya. That is another point we can learn from here. Now text 222. The Bhattacharya, Sarvam Bhattacharya offered a sitting place for him to sit, carpet for him to sit. And when both of them sat, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, notice it. He didn't say, I got prasadam for you. Take this packet. He didn't throw it in his hand or give it to his hand like that. He opened the prasadam packet and then gave everything to him, to Bhattacharya. That's another nice etiquette. Of course, if you need to give some prasadam to somebody that they need to eat tomorrow or at home, then we can pack it and give them. But in this circumstance, he is ready to eat like that. That's why he opened and gave prasadam. Another thing is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is testing Sarvam Bhattacharya through this pastime. We'll come to know about that. So then, because Bhattacharya just got up from bed, he didn't wash his mouth. That means he didn't brush his teeth yet. He didn't take bath. Nor he did the morning duties that he was supposed to do, which is like chanting the holy name. Nothing he did that at that time. But he was very happy to receive Jagannath Mahaprasadam. So what did he do? Actually, it's described because of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the dullness in the mind of Sarvam Bhattacharya was eradicated. Remember in the previous one of the verses is described, Sarvam Bhattacharya himself declared that he is very dull in mind because what is the reason he gave? Because he read lots of books on logic, like that. That's why he's a dull mind. But because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that dullness went away, it seems. Then he recited 2 verses glorifying the Mahaprasadam and starts to eat, it seems. What is that? The two verses are very close to each other. Both are from Padma Purana, it seems. Sarvam Bhattacharya is quoting them. He's saying one should eat the Mahaprasadam of the Lord immediately upon receiving it, irrespective of the condition of the prasadam, dried up, stale, or brought from a distant country. And also one should not consider neither time or place. Is it a good time to eat? Is it a good place to eat or not? No. As soon as the Mahaprasadam comes, you can have it. That's what Padma Purana verse is describing. Same thing in different words. The next verse, this is also Padma Purana quote. The prasadam of Lord Krishna is to be eaten by gentlemen as soon as it is received. There should be no hesitation. There are no regulative principles concerning time and place. That is the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So basically, Sarvam Bhattacharya quoted these 2 verses from Padma Purana. And then started eating without brushing teeth, without taking bath, basically. So that's what is being described. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw that, he was very pleased. And he became ecstatic in Krishna Prema and embraced Sarvam Bhattacharya again one more time. So, let me see if there's any purport. No purports. Okay. Then, basically, point is here is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very pleased. Why is very pleased? Because Sarvam Bhattacharya became passed in a test. What kind of test? Remember, impulse list, they have emphasis on following the rigid rules. especially Smarta Brahmanas, they call them, they're only focused on rules. They're not focused on relationship with Supreme Lord like that. That means it's a absolute no-no for them. Without brushing teeth, without taking bath, following some regulations, irrespective of any condition. But here, Sarvam Bhattacharya, what did he do? He knows all that scriptural injections that you need to take bath first, you need to brush teeth, then only you can eat prasadam, like that he knows. But he knows the higher principle, which is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord, number one. Number two, Bhakti is the highest. Mahaprasadam is very valuable to have like that. So he knows that. That is why he acted in this way, properly. That means he is properly situated like a devotee. That's why he gave the highest value to devotional principles instead of some regulations that he is used to doing in the past. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased because of that transformation he saw in them, saw in Sarvam Bhattacharya like that. That's why he embraced him, it seems. Now, in 228 verse, so when they both embraced each other and they began to dance, it seems. By touching each other, they both became ecstatic. So basically, they danced and embraced each other. Then spiritual symptoms were manifested in their bodies, it seems. Like they perspired, they trembled, they shed tears. And the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to speak in his ecstasy. He's saying, today I have conquered the three worlds very easily. Today I have ascended to spiritual world. There's a purport to this verse. Basically, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is indicating how he was very happy to see someone become a devotee of the Lord, number one. Number two is indicating that our ultimate goal is to go back to spiritual world, not just to go to Swargaloka or heavenly planet to enjoy like that. Because only in spiritual world we can be permanently happy and blissful like that. Whereas in material world, it's only temporary. For some time you'll be happy, after that you'll get some distress again. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying like that. And he started to say, I think that today all my desires have been fulfilled because I see that you have acquired faith in Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath. That means he got bhakti, basically. That's what he is describing. So we should also have great faith in Mahaprasadam for the prasadam, so that way we will also grow in bhakti. Now text 232 is saying, indeed today you have undoubtedly taken shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna without reservation has become very merciful to you. This is another important point of lesson for us to learn. Basically, if you take shelter of Krishna without any motivation, without any hesitation, I want to serve you like that, without karma, gnana, like that we discussed in the morning class, then without reservation, Krishna becomes very, very merciful on us. So we do our part nicely, then Krishna will do his part like that. That's what he's describing. Because you've taken shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna gave his mercy towards you like that. Then he said, today you have been released from material bondage in the bodily conception of life. You have cut to pieces the shackles of illusory energy. Why is he saying that? To take shelter of Krishna, somebody needs to overcome the material energy or illusory energy or Maya like that. Because you could take shelter of Krishna, that's why he's saying you are out of bodily conception, you are in spiritual conception, and you can do it like that is describing. Now text 234, let me see. Yeah, one more verse, 234. Yeah, only 234 we'll cover. Then last verse for today, he said, today your mind has become fit to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, because surpassing the Vedic relative principles, you have eaten the remnants of food offered to the Lord. He's saying, because you went over the Gnana platform to Bhakti platform and you ate remnants of Mahaprasadam, that's why you're fit to take shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. Like that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. So this is another lesson for us to note that love and devotion is important in the practice of bhakti, not just mechanically doing something like that. And then bhakti is the topmost thing for us. If something is unfavorable to bhakti, we don't do it, even though it's given in scriptures also like that. So we'll pause there. So basically we heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvam Bhattacharya conversation, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transformed Sarvam Bhattacharya to a devotee. So that's what we heard, and we'll see more glories of how Sarvam Bhattacharya had the consciousness of devotee in the coming verses. We'll pause there. Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the devotees of the Lord. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.